in addition to your intro, like what are some of the biggest misconceptions of like China or of Chinese people? I guess especially after, COVID, hit the world, and people have perceptions, people have, biases, and people have, their ideas and their thoughts. So tell us, like, what are some of those things?
And
You
I
had a
get this a lot, like especially from foreigners who have never been China or never like getting involved or connect with Chinese people or Chinese culture. They always ask me, "Did you guys really eat dogs?" Or like, "You guys really eat?" Like, there's even one guy asked me, "Did you the people from Guangdong
Mhm.
province? Did they really eat dead baby's body?" I was like,
Dead
"What?"
babies.
Yeah,
Where'd that come
I
from?
heard this before. Like they eat.
I'm good now.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I had a meeting earlier, and I was supposed to have a podcast interview like before you, and then for some reason we had like a mismatch, and it was my I was on the meeting, but then
Yeah.
I guess he was on my link, and then
Mhm.
it said that it told him that I was in another meeting, and I guess that meeting that I was in was the meeting where I was waiting for him. So,
Oh,
yeah, we had to reschedule, but it's all good. Anyways, um,
okay.
你好吗？
我很好，你呢？
well, how? See, I remembered a little bit.
Just these two.
Yeah, I get with the few 5 words that I know in Chinese. All right. So what's up, guys? I know this is a Speak Your Life podcast, but we're doing something a little bit different today. We're switching it up. We're doing some uh just some, I guess, some deep dives into culture, understanding different aspects of different cultures. And today we're talking about China, and this is going to be a discussion, not just me interviewing. This will be a back and forth like conversation, me asking questions and she'll be asking questions. And so it's going to be a great discussion. And we want you guys to make sure you share it with your friends, and um, comment. Make sure you subscribe. We make sure that you also are a part of the Speak Your Life community. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube right now. And anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is my friend Kimberly. We go back to 2017
Yeah.
when we met. I was teaching English for the college class, right?
Mhm. Oral English.
Yes, like speech and yeah, all that stuff. And so, I mean, I was like their favorite teacher, that's what they told me. So,
Yeah, he
um,
is. He
but
was.
yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, so we kept in touch. Yeah, here we are more than 4 years later. So, yeah, Kim's pretty cool. Her English is pretty good. Her English is a lot better than my Mandarin, so that's why we're having this conversation. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Well, you're the reason that my English is better now.
oh really? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'll take that. I'll take that. I try to do the best that I can as a teacher. I try to make sure my students are well prepared. So I'm
Mhm.
glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So, without further ado, my first question, you know, uh, I want to start off with just, just first of all, just kind of introduce yourself, like what city you're from, and like what that upbringing was like, in your city, your hometown, like in your neighborhood, school, like how, just so that people can kind of like understand who Kimberly is a little bit better.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Kimberly. Um, I'm Chinese, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from Wuhan, and the city that the whole world know for a really unfortunate reason.
Yeah.
Um, well, as for introduce myself, um, well, I'm Chinese that who lives in China for the past 26 years. I've never studied abroad or live abroad before, but I have a lots of interest about the Western world or just any other countries except my own. And that which is why I'm like uh, really enthusiastic about cultural differences. And that's also a topic that me and my friend here always talk about. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy to be joining this podcast and talk about the topics we're going to talk about later.
Yeah. And so, and tell them a little bit about, like, like your degree, like what was your degree, and like maybe a few jobs that you had recently.
Oh, okay. So I had a bachelor degree
Mm-hmm.
from a pretty nice school here in Wuhan. I wouldn't say in China, but a pretty nice school here in Wuhan.
How do you say it in China? Or how do you say it in Chinese?
Uh, my school, the name of my school
Mm-hmm.
is Hubei 第二师范, the education, uh, wait, University, Hubei University of Education.
Mm-hmm.
And I also majored in education. Um, I used to work as an English teacher who teach students English as their second language.
Yeah.
But I'm currently not working because I'm preparing my uh, I wouldn't say my trip. I'm about to leave China for France for a year,
Mm-hmm.
start work there as an English teacher. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. You know,
Mhm.
three languages. That's pretty cool. That's way above average.
Well, I wouldn't say three
Two and
language,
a half.
maybe two and a half. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, um, yeah, I wanted to start by like saying, like, in addition to your intro, like what are some of the biggest misconceptions of like China, or of Chinese people? I guess especially after, COVID, hit the world, and people have perceptions, people have, biases, and people have, their ideas and their thoughts. So tell us, like, what are some of those things?
Um, the biggest, I'll just say the things I came up with just now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so since since you mentioned about the COVID, I
Mm-hmm.
guess in addition to that, the biggest misconception is that we eat bat or any other weird animals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people eating weird shit. Wait, can I say that? Can I say the word?
Go ahead.
There are people eating weird shits
Yeah.
everywhere, like not just in China, but I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
say that the majority of people, of Chinese people eating dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's small section of people they do that or eating like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
rats or I don't know, weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But normally we don't eat that in a daily basis. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get this a lot, like especially from foreigners who had never been China or never like getting involved or connect with Chinese people or Chinese culture, they always ask me, "Did you guys really eat dogs?" Or like, "You guys really eat?" Like, there's even one guy asked me, "Did you the people from Guangdong
Mhm.
province, did they really eat dead baby's body?" I was like,
Dead
"What?"
babies.
Yeah,
Where'd that come
I
from?
heard this before. Like they eat weirdest shit ever,
Yeah.
but like dead baby's body, like no, come
That's a
on.
new one for me.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
also, like Chinese people are good at math. I wouldn't say that. That's really not true. But it also depends on comparing to who, you know?
Yeah.
Like speaking of a stereotype, the
Okay.
Americans are known for suck at math. Well, if we're comparing to Americans, we're
Yeah, you are better.
yeah,
On
slightly better.
average. On no, no, not even slightly. Like I think there was like some statistics that like it's because the way that y'all's language is set up that it's
Mhm.
easier for you guys to learn numbers and stuff like that easier and quicker
Oh,
than we do. So like instead of like you guys we like for example, we in our language we would, if somebody had like $1 million or $100,000, we would say like
oh,
100,543, and then all this stuff. But y'all say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or like y'all like say it faster in your language.
yeah.
And so instead of like 11, you say 1, 1, or like stuff
You
like that.
should, you should, if you learn numbers in French, it's gonna make
Uh,
you guys crazy because that basically like you have to do multiplies and
yeah.
stuff to say really big numbers.
Mm,
Oh yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
Well, so how about this? I'm gonna shoot a question, and then you can like we'll talk about it, and then you shoot one back at me. So but to I'm gonna right before you ask me a question, I'm gonna kind of like say something really quick in response to that, like from what my experience was in being in China.
Mhm.
um yeah, of course I did hear those stereotypes, and about dogs and eating this and that. And but I remember going, I think would help me to understand why that was even a thing
Mhm.
was when I was in Beijing, after we had left the university, teaching you guys. We
Yeah.
went to Beijing, did this tour, and the tour guy was basically like telling us the history and saying like how there was like a big famine that happened, and like it was like in the 20th century, like maybe I could be wrong, but it was like maybe the 1940s or 1950s.
Mhm.
And it was the famine was so bad that people, instead of saying like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like, like, um, what is the word I'm looking for? I just said it earlier to you.
你好吗？
Instead of saying "ni hao ma," they would say, of course, in Mandarin, like the equivalent of "Have you eaten today?"
Oh
So
yeah.
that
您
gave
吃了
a
吗
huh?
Yeah. Like that in Chinese. Have you eaten today? 你
Yes,
吃了吗？您吃了
n-
吗
nin shinama.
Yeah.
So that was a reflection as far as how bad the famine was, because if you got people, greeting each other with that every day instead of saying, "How are you?" Just instead of that, you just straight the, "Hey, did you eat today?" Like that
Mhm.
just shows you how bad it was. And from the story that he told us, he was saying that like the famine was so bad. This was before like the Chinese did like international trade and started making more money and building their economy.
Mhm.
And like it was, people, if you had a pet, like if you have literally nothing else, look, I'm sorry, little Pogo, but this dog's going to it's going to have to be our dinner. So um so that's kind of, I guess he was explaining how that kind of started, or that idea of eating pets or stuff like that started. But as time went along, people started to eat like, normal cuisines like anywhere else, like, rice, chicken, like whatever, noodles, all that kind of stuff. And then,
Mhm.
of course, with any type of history, there will be people who kind of linger to that history and still eat those things, even if it is a very small percentage of those people of the
Yeah.
population. It's kind of like how when slavery in slave times, like, the master would feed um like chitlins and all that, pig intestines to the slaves, the black slaves in America. And there are people who still eat chitlins and pig intestines, in Black America, but that percentage of people is like small compared to what it was before, like when it first started happening, because they literally had nothing else.
Mhm.
um like if you have, it's like you either have nothing to eat or you're gonna eat this quote unquote
Yeah.
weird thing. So obviously you're gonna survive and eat that weird thing, and it's not gonna be weird to you in that moment because it's your survival.
Wait, when you said that, what's
Mhm.
that word you just said?
Survival.
Black, no, black,
Oh,
pig, when
I was
they're,
saying black. So like during slavery time, like Black Americans were fed. Well, really, they weren't really Americans, but at that time they were just, the Africans that were brought over here. They were
yeah,
fed pig intestines, like
contestants.
the intestines, like, where the food goes and gets digested.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's
and
one thing.
that's they call that chitlins.
Do you know
So
how popular that is in Korea? Like
really, I didn't even
now,
know
but
that.
one of the most popular food in Korea. I'm really interested in Korean culture, and
Yeah.
I've been there like couple times, and
Hmm.
it also really a popular cuisine here in China now.
Hmm.
Like my
Hmm.
dad loves it.
You said your dad?
Yeah,
Oh wow, wow. That's
yeah.
Do y'all have like any connections like to there, like with family or friends, or just like you just randomly said, "Hey, I like their culture. I like what they do."
What do you mean?
Do you guys like have any sort of connection? Like if I don't know.
Korea?
Yeah, yeah, like any Korean connections, or you just randomly like their culture, either like what they do.
Just I guess just me.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
really interested in.
okay, gotcha, gotcha.
Mhm.
But yeah, so, but yeah, that was in regards to the whole food thing. That was, the story that I was told by the Beijing tour guide. So
Mhm.
he had some really really good stuff. Um, eh, so what is your question for me?
Well, since we're talking about this kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, I do have some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, I've never lived in the States or even
Mm-hmm.
go to the States before.
Yeah.
But ever since I was in like middle school, like I'm like really interested in America.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I watched like so many movies and especially American series, and
Okay.
I saw a lot um like I feel like you guys don't really take public transportation. Like everyone just drive a car, especially in the state. Like if a teenager
Mm-hmm.
need a ride here and there or need a ride to a party,
Yeah.
like for me, my Chinese mind would be like, well, can you just go yourself, like take a bus or
Hmm.
take a metro or stuff, when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why everyone need a ride to everywhere? Like it's not here at all in China, especially when the city I'm staying, kind of like a big city, like the public transportation was like really convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So um um so
So
what it's like to live in a country that you actually need a car like
um yeah, so that's a good one.
not in New York though, I guess.
Yeah, of course, like I would say in the bigger cities like New York, San Francisco, Chicago,
Mhm.
I would say some parts of some parts of Atlanta, Washington D.C. Those are cities where it's like heavy, like
Mm.
public transportation is heavy. Um, and of course, the bigger the city, like you have free transportation for people. Just it's convenient. You don't have to have a car payment if you don't want to, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But for the rest of us that drive cars, it's I mean, it's a free I would say it's a liberating experience. It makes you feel free because you're not waiting like, oh, the train comes at this particular time or the bus comes at this particular time. You're not waiting on somebody else's schedule. And us Americans, we're all about freedom. So we like to do stuff on our own terms and have that individuality spirit about us. So I would say that's at least my experience because I remember times where well, I lived in New Jersey for the last couple of years, and obviously that's next to New York, and so there's a
Yeah.
lot of public transportation. I didn't have a car up there, so that's what I relied on. So I've experienced both sides, and
Mhm.
it was just different, like from driving a car growing up here in Atlanta, Georgia, and
Mhm.
even in college in Arkansas. But just going up there was different. It was just like a whole new world because you see a bunch of people on the train. It's all kinds of people, and it's like sometimes the train is dirty, and it's just like I like if I had the choice, I would have had a car because like I don't want to deal with the people. Sometimes I don't want to deal with how dirty the public transportation can be, or sometimes it will be late and they'll have like mechanical delays or like all kinds of things they have to fix. And I'm like, dude, I got a meeting at this time, or I got to do something. I got to meet up with my friends at this time. I don't have time to wait. So,
Yeah.
uh, we're very impatient as Americans too. So
Yeah.
we like to be able to have that. I guess having a car, it kind of gives you a sense of control in the way
Mhm.
that you can determine like, hey, if I leave and I can leave early to go somewhere, or I can leave at this time, or like if I go at this speed, I can make it at a certain time. So like we
Mhm.
have some sense of control, but then there's other times where there's like accidents or just like, you know, holdups where you don't have any control at all. So um that has been my experience. Obviously, there with that freedom, there comes more responsibility,
Yeah.
and there's been a lot of accidents, and I would say it's one of the top killers out in this country. Like it kills. I think people. It kill. I think car accidents kill more people than cancer, if I'm not mistaken, in
Oh.
America. Yeah, it kills a lot of people. I think it's one of the top three killers. So yeah.
Okay, just a quick
Mm-hmm.
things to say about that.
Yeah.
You know what is weird that like lots of people from my age, like my generations, like um their parents buy them a car, and
Okay.
the thing is after they bought a car, they don't actually drive it, you
Really.
know? Yes, it's so weird. Like a lot of my friends, they got a car and then they
Yeah.
just don't really drive it. So drives it. Like
Hmm.
sometimes I like we're going somewhere and I was like, "Are you gonna drive? Because I don't want to take a metro or take a taxi or whatever. Are you gonna drive?" That they all like, "Oh, I don't feel like driving today. The traffic's bad, and it's really hard to find a parking lots and blah blah blah." So they just don't end up driving their cars.
Wow.
So weird. Like a lot of my friends, like or people
Hmm.
from my do that.
I
So yeah,
mean, that I guess like whenever if you like, I'm guessing you guys have a pretty efficient like public transportation that like comes usually on time, right?
yeah.
Okay, well, if you have that going on, if you have something that's like already working really well and it's coming on time, usually not 100%, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the times it is, and it's getting you to where you're trying to go on, and you get there in the timely fashion, and it's decent. Like you haven't experienced anything bad, like somebody trying to like steal from you or like pull a gun or try to kill you or something like that. If you haven't had any like bad experiences on it, then
Yeah.
you're gonna make any excuse not to drive, and you'll be like, it's just really it comes down to laziness.
Yeah.
Because I probably would say that I may have there'll be times where like I don't feel like driving, but
Hmm.
where I live in Georgia, I am
Hmm.
not really close to like a train station. So I
Hmm.
can't like say, well, oh, friends are meeting up downtown. Like, oh, I don't feel like driving. Or I could just take a Uber, but like I don't feel
Expensive.
like paying for that. So I just be like, if I had the access, I would take the train because I actually love trains. Whenever they're clean, especially when they're clean, and especially when they run on time. That's my favorite things about train. Other than that, if those two things are met, those expectations are met for me, then I'm
Mhm.
running trains every day if I can. And that's where I'm like wherever I'm living next, I want to live near a train station because I mean
Come
where I
to China.
live, you said what?
As they come to China, it's super clean. You got Wi-Fi, and everyone is like you know.
I might have to buy another house up in China. So don't have to have the citizenship to be able to buy a house though.
it's fucking expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know, maybe rent an apartment, who knows. But but yeah, that's just how it is in America. Like yeah, people, you know, people like to have that sense of control and, manage, do stuff whenever they feel like it and not wait for a conductor or a bus driver or something like that. So, um, but yeah, like I want to switch the subject up a little bit. So my
Yeah.
question now to you is let's talk a little bit more about like the social aspect of Chinese living, Wuhan living. What is like the dating life like for people in China? Now I know that you're in a relationship right now, but before that happened,
Yeah.
uh, or even from your friends' experiences, what is it like? Is it like a lot of people? Would you say most people are using apps to meet people, or people are meeting in person? Like, do guys even approach anymore, or do girls approach? Like, what is it like in like where you live and all that stuff?
Well, I got a lot to talk about this.
I knew you
Okay,
would.
so first, I'm gonna start with dating apps.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of
so
which ones y'all got?
well, I know there are three the
Okay.
biggest dating app, the most popular ones.
Okay. What are they?
Um, well, they're all Chinese names, like Jimu or Tantan. It's like the Chinese equivalent of Tinder, but
Okay.
we also
Okay.
use Tinder here.
Yeah.
And another one is Momo and
Momo.
Jimu, I think. Well,
Okay.
there are maybe like 4 to 3 most popular ones and
Yeah.
Tinder. But I think for Tinder is more for people like obviously like foreigners use Tinder here,
Mm-hmm.
and for Chinese people are more like people who can speak a little bit English or they have the background of travel to the West or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but the thing is, like same thing for Tinder in Western world. People sometimes use it not just for finding people who like want to be in a relationship with, sometimes are like hookups.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing in Tinder, you know.
Yeah.
Like I got a so many stories about my friends or from
Mm-hmm.
my past experience that
Mm-hmm.
people just straightforward, like especially Chinese guys. I don't think foreigners thought that, like Chinese guys thought that. Like they just straight up ask you like, do you want to fuck? And you say no or whatever, and they just starting to curse you. Like I have this like 3 or 5 or 6 times from my past experience, and not mention my friends.
That's
They're
funny.
like fuck or not, and then if you don't, and they're like giving you shit, you know. So weird.
Yeah, it that doesn't sound too different from some guys, I would say there's a lot of guys that do that here.
Mhm.
They'll call you the B word, everything. They'll call you anything if if they ask you for sex and then you don't say yes, or
Well,
give
it's
you,
just like the
mhm.
second sentence or the third sentence, or like you wanna fuck, and like it's so fucking weird. Like who would say yes? Like who would say yes? And
Yeah. I mean, there are
it's
like
that hard.
don't get me wrong. Like there are people who would say yes. Like it depends on the attraction level, if they're attracted to that person, or there's all
Yeah,
kinds of factors that play
but
into
the
that.
thing is, they're not hot at all. Like hot
I
people, they
mean,
don't do that.
that's up for interpretation, Kimberly, because like there are people who who may be like who maybe you thought they were not attractive, but the next girl maybe be like, oh, okay, let's do it. Let's come
Well,
over.
you
True.
try like 100 girls, and maybe like two or one would say, yeah, why not?
Hey, I guess it can be a numbers game because out of 100 there will be at least maybe 10 that say yes, and out of that 10 that say yes, probably 5 of them would actually maybe give an address or something like that, and out of that 5, they'll actually come to the place. So there's like so many different factors
Kind
in
of
it. So then it
weird.
really dwindles down to like 5 people, maybe less than that, when it's all said and done. But yeah, it's not that, I guess that aspect of dating, as far as like apps and stuff like that, is not too different from here in America. It's a very there's a big, I would say, hookup culture here as well with dating apps. Because it just makes it where dating is just kind of like you don't have to put much effort into it. You don't have to really like I don't know. I mean, as a guy, like you don't really have. I mean, and I think this is in most cultures that guys usually are the ones that approach first,
Mhm.
and because of that, like it requires work, especially on our part. Like at the beginning, because we're the ones that have to deal with more rejection than y'all do. Um,
Yeah.
y'all are the no, because y'all are the ones that either say yes or no. Because at the end of the day, uh, let's just say this. I don't even know what the statistics on this is, but
Yeah.
I know I'm right. If one girl, or like you or whoever, one of your girlfriends, like did the same thing those guys are doing, like, hey, you want to hook up? Hey, you want to hook up? And out of 100 of those guys, instead of like 5, it would be more like 95 would say yes for the
Yeah.
guys if it was reversed. But for guys, it's different because we are the hunters and we are the ones that pursue. And because of that, um, I mean, to a girl, like, if you're getting like 100 requests every single day, for a hookup, or to even let alone just go on a date, like even not even, let's just say, what if they just don't even ask for hookup, but just, hey, let's go on a date. Maybe they get 100 of those, or maybe they get they get like way more. Like I think it was just like a study that I remember, it was like a psychological study in America where they did like a really top rated male model and a top rated female model,
Mhm.
and the guy who was like one of the top rated male models got like, I think out of 1,000, like I think it was 1,000 people, he got like
Mhm.
40 matches or 42 matches, and then out of 1,000, the girl got like 700, over 700 matches. Like that's a big difference in numbers. 700 versus 40 something,
Yeah.
42, 43. That's a huge number. Like that just shows you like how much, it just shows you how much y'all have it easy when it comes to at least the initial part of dating, I guess.
It
Um,
is.
but
Hey,
like, do people approach, or like like, I guess maybe post COVID is different, but like let's just say 2019 before, or yeah, earlier 2019 before we talk about COVID, like what was it like? Was it common that men would approach girls on the street or like at the mall or at the store and say, "Hey, can I get your number? I'd love to take you on a date," something like that? Or
Mm-hmm.
was it not much different from now with just, hey, straight to the point on, Tinder or whatever app? Is it? I
I
don't know.
I think people like younger generations use dating apps way more.
Mm-hmm.
And as for approaching to boys approaching to girls are um, really common here.
Okay.
They normally it's just kind of weird for me because normally guys would like approach to a girl and say, "Hey, can I get your WeChat?" Because we don't really like call people, use numbers, or we just use WeChat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can I
That's
get your
fair.
WeChat? And they left. And then they only talk to you on WeChat. Not like, hey, I think you're attractive, or I'm like, do you want to grab a coffee, or do you want to, do something later? It's just
Yeah.
like, hey, can I get your WeChat? And then they left. It's for the same thing, like girls approach you guys.
That's
Well,
funny.
I mean, normally they would ask their friends to get the guy's WeChat for them. Also, really weird for me. I
Okay.
guess they're shy, or it's not really like
He ain't
common
getting
for
no game.
girls.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not really common for girls to approach guys. So
Mm.
the majority of them get their friends to get the guys WeChat. And
Okay.
also the same, they only talk online,
Okay.
like after the departure or anything. Like for me, I mean, I tried it before. Like if I saw someone that I like, I'll approach them and I will ask them, "Do you want to go do something later?" Not just talk online,
WeChat.
because I don't like texting
Yeah.
or calling. I got phobia when someone call me. Like, oh no, don't call me, please, ever. I prefer to meet someone face to face, to hang out,
That's
you know.
funny.
Yeah.
I
They
remember
only
that.
text.
I remember
Only
that.
text.
I remember the times that we like there were times like when I wasn't in China, like after I came back to the States, and be like
Yeah.
we would just like catch up or whatever. Because I you know me, I absolutely hate texting. And
Yeah.
so it would be like, dang, I hate texting, and then be like, dang, well, I hate calling. I'm like, all right, we did enough texting, so I at least get the benefit of like we gonna talk on the phone or something, because like we've
Yeah.
done enough texting, so it's my turn to get what I want now. But but yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I guess I do. I'm more of like how you are in that way. Obviously, I'm a guy that's different, but I do prefer like in person, like meeting, different people out and about, whether it's
Yeah.
at like social gatherings or you're at the bar, restaurant, or like whatever, like networking events. You get to meet people because I mean, just naturally, I'm a more social person. Now, for people who are like not really sociable or maybe not as like outgoing, they may be social, but they may just not be outgoing.
Hmm.
Then apps are probably like better for them.
Hmm.
Or if they do think that you're cute, they might walk up like, "Hey, what should we chat?" And then just like walk away. Or like the equivalent of that for us is, "Hey, what's your Instagram?" And then walk away. Because the
Yeah.
thing about an Instagram is that it's not like so like like invasive of your privacy, because
Hmm.
like especially if we didn't talk that long,
Yeah.
then you're not going to ask for the phone number, because that's a little bit more
Hmm.
personal. But if you had like a decent, like if you feel like you had a decent connection or you had decent rapport and had a
Hmm.
decent conversation, then of course you ask for a number. But if it was like so quick and you're like, "Hey, I gotta go," you just ask for Instagram, because literally you can do the same things on there. You can like text, you can video chat, you can call, all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and on top of that,
Snapchat.
this is some like Instagram game. Like this is like for the guys out there. Like you ask for the Instagram because especially like especially when people are like wearing masks like way heavy, you want to
Mhm.
see what she looks like behind the mask, and a phone number won't do that for you, like an
Well,
Instagram will.
why? I mean, why would you ask someone's number or Instagram when you only see two eyes? Like there's like
I mean, there.
rest.
Let's just say, I'm gonna just speak for myself.
Okay.
I have a pretty good judgment. Pretty good. I'm not. It's not perfect, but I have a pretty good judgment of like looking to judge like accurately what somebody's attractive level to me is. Again,
From your eyes.
that's a spectrum. It's the eyes, and it's also the forehead. Like it's a combination of the forehead and eyes. I can't describe it to you like how I know. It's just
Your
an instinct
game
inside of me
won't
that
work
says,
here in
yeah,
China.
like I'm gonna get her Instagram. Like I'm gonna give you a story. Like, so one time I was in Amsterdam, and and I was at the store, and it was just like a regular, convenience store. And I think I was like buying, like, I needed some lotion for my hands or something like that. And I was I was the only person not wearing a mask in that place. But anyways, I was standing in line, and I looked at the girl, and and I was just like, and even before I got in the line, I was like, I think she's attractive. Like, she had a mask and everything on. Just
Mhm.
looking at her eyes, just looking at her hair, her forehead, like I feel like I think there's a good chance that I feel like I'm attracted to her. And so I just, like, as I was in line, I was like, I'm gonna find a way to start like a little conversation and then get her Instagram. And then I did that, and then, like, we ended up like uh just kind of like meeting up later on and just like kind of going on a little date that same day, later that day after she get off of work. And so she asked me while we are like this is while we're actually hanging out. She was like, "So how did you know that I was like, what I look like? Because like I could have not been attracted to you." Um,
Yeah.
and I said, "That's true, and that's why I asked for your Instagram." And she was like, but I just told her, I was like, "I don't know. It was something about your eyes and your forehead that told me that I should like try to talk to you a little bit more and get to know you better and all that
Mhm.
stuff." And then she started laughing because she was like, so you know what you were doing when you walked in here without a mask. She was basically implying like that she was attracted to me. I said, yeah, yeah, I knew you were there. So, I just that's why I didn't wear a mask. I don't want you to see my beautiful face. But but
Well,
anyways.
I have to say this game of yours that would probably not working here in China because from my experience, especially guys, I feel like in COVID right now, like the
Hmm.
mask is like the makeup to girls.
Really?
Ugly guys, they wear a mask.
Okay.
They're way attractive when they're not wearing mask. Like for sure, and for girls as well, because um I don't know where like everyone are really good at their eye makeup.
Okay.
Their eyes are like pretty, but when they take off the mask, it's just like your game wouldn't work here. I saw so many people, oh, they probably like really attractive, and when the mask go on, I was like, well, never mind.
I think
Doesn't
it's
work.
better for them to I'd rather them not look as attractive with a mask on, and then when they take it off, I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I rather that I rather for them to be, like I said, I rather them to be not as attractive with the mask, because like the other side is like, well, you have these expectations, and
Mhm.
then like your bubble just bursts because you're just like, oh, okay, never mind. Like,
Oh
because I've
shit.
had like I said, I'm pretty accurate, but there are times that I misread it, and then
Mhm.
like, and that's why I asked for the Instagram, because I'm like, am I able to scroll and like look, at her face? I'm like,
Yeah.
I missed this one. This I messed up on this one. But and I wouldn't contact her further. So but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's what do people typically do on like first dates? Like, what are some like typical first date ideas that people have? Like, Is it like going out to eat, for going for coffee? Like, I don't know. What do people typically do for first dates?
Um,
It's pretty common.
well, that depends on like if traditional Chinese people or Chinese couple,
Mhm.
they normally would go for dinner
Okay.
or and then dinner, a movie after dinner, which
Mhm.
is like too serious for me if
Yeah.
I'm going on a first date, especially with people who just met from dating apps.
Okay.
Because you don't know, like they might be crazy or they might be like super boring, and
Yeah.
you have dinner with them, like you're gonna stuck with them for at least 1 hour. Like you can't make excuses. Oh, like you have
Yeah.
to sit there and finish your meal.
I gotta go to the bathroom and then never return.
So like for
Yeah.
me, I definitely wouldn't go first date with people on their first time.
Okay.
I'm probably just gonna go grab a coffee or
Yeah.
do something else. And then another thing about Chinese people, I mean traditional Chinese people, Chinese couples,
Okay.
they do pretty much the same things.
What do you mean?
Either go to the shopping mall
Mm-hmm.
or grab a coffee or bubble tea and
Yeah.
watch movie, um, go shopping, I guess, and that's it, maybe, or hang
Mm-hmm.
out with their friends. Not really much of diversity when it comes to the activities you do when you're dating. And
Mm-hmm.
normally, they, I don't know, just the things they do when they're dating are so boring. Always dinner, movies, or shopping, like the three things. Oh, like Chinese guys, I don't know, like, I mean, traditional Chinese guys.
I was about to
I
say, is that why you had to
remember,
get yourself a foreigner? Is that why you like foreigners so much?
no, no, no. I like people who are willing to do different things or experience different activities. Like I
Okay.
remember um before when I just out of my previous relationship, I asked one guy, "Hey, like, do you want to go swimming together?" Because
Mm.
I really want to practice how to. I don't know the word for in English.
How to swim
Um,
or
paddle. But anyway,
paddle?
so
Oh
I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
swimming. I
Paddle.
want to go, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, but maybe we should go have dinner first, or
Okay.
maybe we should go watch a movie first. And then I remember one time was like, hey, do you want to go like bike riding in, there's a really famous park here in Wuhan. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to go there. He was like, yeah, we can go there and have a picnic. I don't know. It's just like when I
You didn't seem too happy about that.
dating Chinese boys. I mean, I don't really care about race, black,
Mm-hmm.
brown, white,
Yeah.
Asian. I don't really care about race. It's just the individuals.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say was like traditional Chinese couple, they don't do a lot of uh, activities that are different to others. It always, like I said, dinner, movie, and shopping.
Shopping. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I mean, I would say here in America, it's pretty, I would say pretty common. Like it's not too much. I would say like the dinner aspect is a very similar thing here.
Mhm.
Um, People a lot of times do like go out to eat lunch or dinner or something like that. But I would say like, and this is just my perspective. Like
Yeah.
I think it's becoming more common that guys are doing like first dates as like going out for tea or coffee
Mhm.
or like excuse me, I'm not sure what happened to my, wait a minute, hold up.
Okay.
I think I gotta switch cameras.
Sure.
I think my battery went out. I gotta go to this crappy camera. Can you give me 1 second? I'm gonna switch this battery out.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Bam. Okay, now we're back. But yeah, I would say like it's like, and like I said, this is my perspective and my and just like the way that I've seen things and just in culture, because like a lot of times girls you know, it's it's very common, more common people think, like they would go on like free dinner dates where they like, you know, play the guy, they would play the guy, well we call it finesse the guy over here, like you know, play him like a fiddle, and you know, you get a free dinner but you're not really interested in the guy, so he doesn't even like, you know, she doesn't go back home with them, or she doesn't even give him a kiss. She doesn't even like, or like she barely even hugs him. Yeah, she gave him like that sideways hug, like the sideways church hug. It was nice meeting you. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that happened to me one time. It was this Australian chick that I went out with in when I was in New York, and I was stupid enough to like buy the dinner, but at the same time I did like, I was like, all right, I ended up like saying, hey, let's go for Starbucks, and I was like, I'm gonna let you get the chai tea. I'm like, I'll at least let her get something, pay for something, but
Mhm.
I typically don't do dinner dates on the first date, because you're just trying to get to know that person, like you're just trying to see like, are they even worthy of a second date? Like,
Yeah.
and like, if are they worthy of me spending money on them? Because the girls are not spending the money, it's us. We are spending the money. So we have to, you know, there are some guys like, and maybe you've heard this term before, like that are, it's like a big simp culture. Maybe you've heard
Mhm.
that word through TikTok
Same
or social
culture.
media. Simp, SIMP, simp.
Mhm.
It's like a person who is it's just somebody who basically puts like women on a pedestal, and they see women as like, you know, so much like better, that they are like subservient, and like, you know, like they treat them like a queen while they are like
Yeah,
treated like the peasant, you know.
that's
And
Chinese food.
so like a lot of these guys who were like simps, like it's like a whole phenomenon, like people, it's a whole thing where people are simping, and they're, you know, paying for girls lavish dates, super like, I remember seeing this video, this one
Boys.
guy, huh?
That's Chinese boys. Well, you're from a guy's perspective, you'd be like, that's simp. But from average girls, I'm like, damn. That's why I
Oh,
like Chinese boys, you know, like I mean, I'm not speaking from me, my
that's funny. That
but
is
you
hilarious.
say that from a guy's perspective.
You, oh
Yeah.
man. So yeah, it's like, so like guys would, you know, take these girls. I remember, like I said, this video I saw, the dude was he took this girl out for a dinner date, and the bill came, and after they, you know, had the wine, you know, food and the desserts, the bill came to be $600,
Damn.
and of course he paid for it, and at the end of the night, all she gave him was a hug.
Okay, so he was expecting that the $600 gonna pay for later the night that he spent with the girl.
I don't. I mean, obviously, we know what he was expecting, but at the same time, that's that I mean, at the end of the day, that's her choice if she wants to, go to your place or do all that kind of stuff. But dude, like you can't see that's the type of thinking like I think a lot of guys are starting to realize that in America because a lot of you hear it in song like girls hear it in songs like female rappers. Maybe you've heard of Meg Thee Stallion or Cardi B. I don't know if have you ever heard of them before? They're like
Cardi
female
B, yeah,
rappers. Okay.
yeah,
So a lot of them, talk about like finessing guys out of their money, getting free stuff, getting them to spend money on you. Cause there'll be
yeah.
girls. There's a female rapper. She's part of the City Girls. I think it's JT. She was talking about how like when it comes to the first date for her, if a guy's not spending at least $50,000 on shopping
Mm-hmm.
first date, then
Mm-hmm.
she's out of there. Like there's no second date, there's no anything else she won't ever. She's gonna block him on Instagram. She's gonna block him everywhere if he's not spending $50,000 on the first date. So you know what that does to the American dating pool, right? That
Mm-hmm.
creates it where it creates such an in I would say a delusional standard in America for like the average person because the average person actually makes around 50,000, maybe a little bit less in 1 year, their whole salary. And yet
Yeah.
this this female rapper is talking about if he doesn't spend $50,000 on the first date,
Mm-hmm.
then we're done. Like, and I think even if like my thought is, even if you do have the ability to do it, even if you like, if even if you are like a millionaire, billionaire, I still
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's a good idea to spend $50,000 on the first date with somebody because all it does is build an expectation. Like you gotta get higher and higher because it creates an unrealistic expectation. And now a lot of girls who are not rappers or not like famous are
Mm-hmm.
expecting those things because people are so influenced by music here in America and
Mm-hmm.
media. Where a lot of times we're so influenced by stuff. So like we're wanting those same things, and so girls say stuff like, well, he doesn't deserve me if he's not spending,
Pay for the first
you
day.
know,
First date.
not just paying for the first date, but like if he's not dropping $1,000 for dinner, or if he's not, if he doesn't, do this or that, if he doesn't take me on a shopping spree in the first day, I'm just like, dude, like that anybody who agrees to any guy who agrees to that, I would call him a simp because you're basically telling her that just because you're a woman, that means like you're more important and not that you actually contributed anything to my life, not that you've brought any value to my life, not even that you have a great personality just because you're a woman and that's it. That
Mm-hmm.
you deserve like me spending $50,000 on you. That I think that's really dumb to me. And so that's really created a lot of delusion in the dating market, and it's really destroyed a lot of, I guess it creates an expectation that's out of this world and that's not really realistic for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in the dating world. So that's why a lot of guys are starting to see that. They're starting to open their eyes and they're seeing that, there are these girls that, that take advantage of guys, I mean, when I say take advantage, I'm talking about like take advantage of the opportunity to like, get a free this or that, drinks,
Mm-hmm.
food, whatever they can get it, and not and know before even going there that they're not even interested in the first place. So
Okay, here's my thought on that.
okay.
I think, first of all, this kind of things come to like a choice. Like if a girl choose to find a man who are willing to pay for her expense or dinner or treat her like a princess or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's her right to find a man like that. But
Sure.
I don't think it's good for girls to telling other girls, "Oh, you're stupid. You're not letting guys to pay for your shit."
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong, but it's okay for her to wanna to find a man like that, and men
Yeah.
can say no to that, but also be like, okay, that's your choice. That I'm not looking for someone like you, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't match. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that's okay. That's all right because she doesn't the things she wants you can't afford, or you are not looking for a girl like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really um but for me is like for example, I don't want to go on a dinner dates for the first date,
Mm-hmm.
like for the reason that I just mentioned, and
Yeah.
also for um I don't want to put pressures on myself, because if I let the guy pay for the dinner, I feel like, okay, I don't really like him, but now I have to buy him a drink and spend more time with him.
Yeah.
Or I don't like this guy, he's like really boring or stupid. I don't want to spend half of the money having time spending time with him.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like a not a good deal for me. So I rather to have a coffee. Like in
Mm-hmm.
that case, I don't I just spend a money of coffee to get to know one and see if he like deserve a second date with me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also um I think about spending money on first dates in the States and in China are like really different, because
Okay.
Chinese boys are often expected to pay for everything. I think
Mm-hmm.
everything, like even for travels or sometimes for rent. I
Mm-hmm.
think this a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but nowadays, I feel like boys are starting to get like, okay, I'm not gonna pay everything for you. You probably sometimes should pay some of the dates or some of the spends. And I think that's good because
Mm-hmm.
um I don't know. For me, it's just like I always feel like if I let a guy buy the dinner, I have to get something in return. Like I buy him this or that. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's lots of pressure on women. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's good to well, I don't like go Dutch because it's kind of awkward compared to my
Yeah.
culture.
That's not even a date. That's just like two friends going out,
Yeah, yeah, I
living
don't
each other.
like that. If a guy said, "Okay, this is how much we pay for the dinner, and you should give me this amount of money," I'll be like such a turn off. I rather like he paid the dinner or I paid the dinner and he paid for the drinks, or next dinner be better. But he's like, that's like so fucking nice. Like a feeling. I'll just buy the dinner and you go fuck off. Like I don't want to see you again. So cheap, go Dutch, so cheap. Here you do that in China, like I don't think you will ever get a date or whatever.
No. I mean, for me, like I would say, like for me, like I definitely believe in like a man paying for, you know, like the dates, like in the courtship phase or whatever you want to call it, while you're talking. But
Mm,
like, say for instance, you guys become boyfriend and girlfriend, then I think at that point it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna let her pay for some stuff because we're in a relationship now. Like, we're exclusively dating, and I don't
mm,
have to, you know, because like, I mean, yeah, you're constantly, yeah, you want to impress each other, like, but let's be honest, the time that you really impress each other the most is at the very beginning, when you first
mm,
meet each other, leading up to when you're in a relationship. Like, you feel like, all right, you kind of like take your foot off the pedal a little bit, but not too much, but just in a way that, like, especially if you have a connection with that person, you feel like you can trust them, or you feel somewhat comfortable with them, but again,
mm,
not too comfortable, but just like to the point where like my last girlfriend, like I pay for everything as far as like whenever we would go out. Maybe one thing, she like literally insisted, like she would not let me pay for this one thing, I think, before we started like becoming boyfriend girlfriend. But
mm,
I would say most girls are not gonna be like that. At least from what I've seen in my experience. And I mean that's fine. But as far as like when it comes to the being in the relationship or being girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, and wife, like obviously she's gonna pay for something because it's not like the dude's gonna just pay for every single thing.
Mm,
Because I mean it's just I feel like when you're in a relationship, it's different because you guys are together, you guys are like working together, and there'll be times where like there'll be times where maybe you'll be a rough patch in your career, or there'll be a rough patch. Maybe like you didn't get paid that week and you have to wait till next. Like there'll be different things that you can't predict,
yeah.
like maybe COVID-19, like, people lost their jobs and people were like searching for ways to make money. And so like there'll be times where like that you can expect. So definitely believe in women stepping up to that role as well, because I mean as we talk about equality and all that stuff, but I mean that's the part that a lot of girls don't want to talk about too, like the equality of paying for
Yeah.
things too. They don't want to talk about that. See, I think in I would say especially in America, like there's a lot of women who want equality and all that stuff. That's good. Equal paying jobs. That's cool. Like I agree with all that stuff. But when it comes to like dating and stuff like that, there seems to be like, at least I can't speak for China, but in America there there seems to be an idea a lot of times, and I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of times where a lot of the women are, they say they want equality, but they want a lot of traditional things out of the man. And
Hmm.
so they want the man to pay for this. They want the man to do this or protect them or like all this stuff. And that's fine. But when it comes to things that guys ask for, they are like, oh, come on. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to do all that stuff for you. Like, who do you think I am? Like, what? so,
Hmm.
so it's just like, it's like there's somewhat of a double standard in some girls' eyes where
Hmm.
they want their cake and eat it too, where they expect traditional things out of a man, but they themselves are not traditional in the sense of like, you know, cooking or whatever, like stuff like that for guys.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's where it's created, like I would say, like a lot of disruption in relationships in America.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of people that are confused and just like have inner conflicts with different dating ideas and gender roles and different things like that. So
You
yeah.
know, I used to have that, like
Mm,
growing up, like even like my mom tells me if a guy doesn't spend money on you, he, well, not say if he doesn't spend money on you, that means he doesn't loves you, but definitely one thing you should think about.
mm,
I mean, not just my mom, it's like the whole society has that values in girls' mind. Like guys should spend money for you, on you. Like
mm,
not just buy dinner, that's like the basic here in China. Like he's supposed to pay for your dinner, pay for
okay.
everything, like treat you like a princess. I mean, I grew up in that kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but when um grow older and I uh getting exposed to like Western culture and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I also like ask myself, is that right? Like letting guys pay for everything. If he doesn't, that probably means he doesn't love me enough.
Mm,
And especially when I starting to date different people, and I
okay.
also feel like I don't want this pressure on me. Like I let him pay for stuff for me, and I feel like I have to give him something back, no matter it was in emotionally or financially.
Mm,
And so I started to doubt the old values that the society or my mom project on me. Is
okay.
that should I let guys or expected guys to pay things on me or spending money for me, like for pay for travels, because my ex-boyfriend, he
Mm,
paid, well, I think we went on travel once, and he paid for um the food or the plane tickets. and and then I feel like when we go back, I should buy dinners more or blah blah blah. And then I
mm,
started to date my current boyfriend. I feel like, because when we go travel, I
mm,
pay for my own airplane, which I have a no problem with. And for the
mm,
spends, like I give him certain amount of money, and he put his money on side, so we spend the money together. But normally he covers the big end because he makes way more money than me.
mm,
And I'm really happy for this kind of form, how we handle our finance together. And now I started to realize that, okay, so I don't want this kind of pressure that if I let a guy pay for dinner or blah blah blah. So I don't ever go on the dinner dates, or
mm,
I don't let my boyfriend pays everything for me, because he wouldn't like that and I wouldn't like that. So I
mm,
started to grow this new values that um, girls shouldn't always expected guys to pay for everything, and maybe guys shouldn't like um clean too much on how much you spend on this girl, or is she worth me to spend money on her. So I feel
mm.
like this is like both ways. But it's like sometimes I feel like it's really hard to find the person that makes this kind of, how do I say this in English,
Mm,
because guys expected girls to pay more things than normally do, and girls
okay,
expected guys to be like, you should spend more money on me to show you love me more. So it was really difficult for people to find that the other person that matched their values in dating life.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a, I would say, there's a conflict that's going on, um, in the dating world across, I'll say, like across the East and the Western hemisphere of the world. Because, I mean, I would say, like, there's, the traditional values, and then there's like more modern values that people have. Um, I would say, like, at the end of the day, people have to do what's best for them as a couple.
Mhm.
I would say that is what, like, because everybody's different. Like, because there's some people who maybe they were so modern that they had so many modern values in dating that they actually wanted to, you know like, trying out the traditional values that they maybe never really tried because they were so opposed to traditional, just like, oh, I'm gonna be not what my parents were, so much that it almost backfired. And then they realized that there were like some things about the traditional, values that they missed, or they maybe should have implemented in their own dating life. uh
Mhm.
and so it goes, every couple is different. Every couple is different. So, um, yeah, I like, for me, I lean a little bit traditional, but there are things in modern things that I do implement in dating. Because I mean, obviously, I don't pay for everything. That's
Yeah.
that's just not really realistic, um, and that's just, and it's like, because like the thing is, when it comes to, like, when we talk about, like, paying for things, like, if we're gonna use that as a specific example, like,
Mhm.
it is, there's a sense where it's like an investment. You're investing in that person. Not
Mhm.
only your time, you're both are investing time, but like you're investing in that person. But if one person is just like investing so much into that other person, and then the other person
Gonna
not
expect it.
investing in other, they're gonna take them for granted. They It's a good chance that they'll take them for granted, not because they mean to, or because they are just evil, but that's just human nature. I think the connection is going in and out. Hello?
Network
Oh, can
is
you
a
hear me?
little bit.
Okay, there we go. We're back, I think.
I'm back.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but anyways, yeah, I guess we were talking about just
Hello?
we were talking about, can you hear me? You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, minute.
Yeah, we were just
Yeah.
talking about we were talking, oh yeah, yeah, investing money and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, you have to be careful because if there's like an imbalance where somebody is just like always paying for stuff or always doing this or that, and then the other person's just like, oh well, I don't have to do anything, I can
Yeah.
just, is it, are you able to hear me now?
Uh,
Hello? Uh, hello? Hello? uh oh man, let's see. Let me make yeah, so I was just basically saying like, yeah, if somebody's just like spending, like then the other person's just gonna like take them for granted. And
mhm.
yeah, so that's why, that's where I feel like there's, there's certain guys that are kind of like like they're like, even if they are traditional, they might stop and be like, like stop and think like, all right, like what is she contributing to my life? Um, and that's where, because guys don't want to be, most guys, I will say most guys don't want to be simps. They don't want to just put a girl on a pedestal and just like, treat her like royalty while she treats you like a peasant. She treats you like, you're whatever. And then the next guy with, more money comes along, and then you're kicked to the curb, and then she's on to the next, and then the next she's just stair climbing to the highest bidder.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, society is teaching a lot of girls that, and so, but at the same time, people had to have those conversations for themselves, and people have to engage and just like see what is best for them as a couple, and like just because like social, if you watch so much social media, like it will take over your relationship, it will take over like, your life too. So
Mhm. Because people be comparing everything, other
yeah.
people's boyfriend or other people's girlfriend,
Yeah.
buying designer bags or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Like, is it like, I guess maybe transitioning subjects, like in China, is it like common? Because I know it's very common in Korea. Is it common, like with especially with, like girls, like to get like facial changes or like certain surgeries to like, I don't know, to either get a slim face or like a lighter skin, or like, I don't know, like are there those types of things that are very common?
It is very common, but I would say not as common as in Korea because I know lots of
Yeah.
girls or even boys in Korea they get their plastic surgery done after just right after high school. And
Oh
whereas
wow.
here in China, people are more open about plastic surgeries and stuff. Like
Mm,
they're willing to talk about or admit it. There, I had a plastic plastic surgery done, or in public, like public speak open to speak of those kind of things. And there are more and more people getting plastic surgeries, which I think is their choice, as long as they do their researches and find a really decent hospital to do it, or decent doctor to do it. And but I also think, the beauty standards are changing like every few years, like especially about like lighter tone or darker skin tone. Because in Southeast Asia, like Korea, Japan, or China, people are more, they prefer lighter skin, which is somewhat of racist. I don't know. It's a little bit fish to me. They prefer lighter skin. Like the more fair your skin is, the more attractive you are. But I think they're getting a little bit changed now, because people are like, okay, tan skin are really attractive too, if you're like naturally like darker than other people in China. They also would think it's attractive. So I think that is good. But for plastic surgeries, boys and girls are getting it down, and they're okay with it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I want to get plastic surgeries, like so many.
You
But
said
now
you
I'm
want
like,
to?
yeah, like
Really?
so many. Not now, before. Like I'm not happy about so many places
What
about
what
myself.
what are some I guess what are some plastic surgeries that you think you want to get?
Not now. Now I don't want to do any, but before, like I want to do
Oh,
my eyes
before.
closed, yeah, like I want to do so many things. Like don't really, like I'm confident. I was confident, and sometimes are like
Yeah.
not at all. But now,
Okay.
like I'm more okay with myself. Like I love myself more, and also, like I said, I realize that the beauty standards are changing every few years. Like a couple years ago, Chinese girls are crazy about getting double eyelid surgeries, bigger
Yeah.
eyes, and our bone structures are not fitted for those really big, like even like European structures, double eyelid.
Yeah.
So back then it was super popular. Every girl wanted that down after high school, like in like Korean girls. But now we're actually more appreciated, like
Appreciative.
more,
Yeah.
yeah, like double eyelid, or no,
Single.
mono, yeah, single
Yeah.
eyelid, or even more slanted eyes. And
Yeah.
those girls who did the surgery are like, shit, now I'm regretted,
Can't go back now. Can't undo it.
Yeah, you can't go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I think like I mean like at the end of the day people can do whatever they want, but my thing is like I think, I mean I love especially like and this is just my perspective. Like I love when a woman has like natural like beauty. Or yeah, I just like, I like it when anybody like appreciates who they are, um, and how they were born and how they were made and stuff like that. Uh, and I think that's the real self-love. It's like when you love who you are as you're born. No, I granted there are people who, maybe are born with certain diseases or deficiencies or different like type of things where I could totally understand like plastic surgery and stuff like that because, maybe their life was so hard growing up and all that stuff, or maybe they get into an accident. That's definitely understandable. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. Beauty standards, they can change. And I didn't even know this until like I would say maybe I found this out in 2017, is that, you know, as a Black American, um, you see the world, you're like, oh, people say that lighter skin is better or more attractive, you know,
Mhm.
and that comes from Eurocentric, ideas.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but I didn't know that like during like biblical times, like in the Bible, like in the ancient times, like the darker the skin, that was actually more appreciated. And it was like during that time, like for example, like King Solomon, um, who was like a Jewish king in the Bible. He he wanted, like he fell in love with this queen. Her name was Queen Sheba.
Mhm.
She was like really dark skin, like my phone. Like, and like very, like I'm not even near how dark she was, like how he described her, because
Yeah.
like he described her like in a poetic version, like in poetry,
Mhm.
and he just talked about how he appreciated her dark skin. Here he is, the king. He's like the wisest man in the world,
Mhm.
probably, the richest man in the world at the time. And, and, him publicly showing his affection towards a very dark skinned woman, like was like, I mean, like that, it made it acceptable for other people to be like, oh, okay. And, but now it's different, as time has gone on, people make it seem like, oh, well, having darker skin is you're less than, or you're not as good or whatever. Uh,
Mhm.
but what I seem to notice too is like, especially like, you know, as a black person, like, um, you know, there was a time where black women, have naturally, larger waist and like bigger butts, like naturally. But like a lot of times, like the media or something like that, they would be like, oh, well, that's not really a standard of beauty, that's not really like fit into the narrative, that's not really good, like that's, oh, like they would treat it like that. But now all these girls
Yeah.
are getting tans,
Because of
getting as
Paris.
dark as us, getting the big Brazilian butt lifts,
Yeah.
and are getting the lip injections to have
Yeah.
bigger lips like us, when these are the very things that we were made fun of for, like
Yeah.
big lips, big butts, darker skin, like all this. I'm like, y'all are copying us, like, and that's how we are naturally. So
And
it's
also,
just, mm-hmm,
uh, I realized that it's so weird. Um, like people are really okay with or like really attractive to um white women when they have big butt, curvy body shape
I like
and
anyone with
big
a curvy
lips.
body shape.
Yeah, and they're like, damn, she's hot. But when a black lady, I mean, not now, because now people are more open to the diversity of beauty. But when
Yeah,
a black women have that, they're like,
yeah,
okay, like, okay, she's
mm,
black, that she has that. So
mm,
it's somewhat of like really weird or fishy to me that I found that in social media or like um
mm,
yeah, just or like people how they talk about this kind of two different races women, two
yeah,
women in two different race.
mm,
So yeah, we're weird.
yeah. Yeah, it's different, and I think, you know, it was. I think it started to be more popular when the Kardashians started to touch it.
Mhm.
When, Kim Kardashian started to become popular. She had a big butt, obviously, and so that made it more acceptable, socially acceptable for white
Yeah,
women to start doing that. Uh, but yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like now everybody, now all girls are getting it. And
mm.
yeah, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. It don't matter the race. Hey, attractive woman is an attractive woman to me. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I that's something I don't mind at all. But it's just funny how like that's how the world is. Where people at first
beauty
they like,
standard changes every few years.
yeah, where they demonize something and they say, oh, that's terrible, that's not good enough, and then later on here they are like, that's who they're married to.
Yeah.
So
I feel like people should like really be more open to different kinds of beauty. And despite as how cliche this is, I also do think like confidence is
mm,
the most powerful things you would have to make you more attractive. Because if a
mm,
person like really confident, like you can feel like she or he is like more attractive if she's not that confident. Like,
mm,
have you watched that really popular show from HBO, I think, Euphoria?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, there's one girl in that show. I think her name is Katie or Kate, and she's like,
Okay.
well, to a normal beauty standard, she's like a little bit overweight, but I mean, her role is like she's super unconfident, like and not happy about who she is or how she look, and then
Mhm.
she like self-involved as a person, and then now she's okay with herself, and she's super confident, and that makes her like way more attractive to the
Mm.
people who in the show or to my ex. So I think that is like
Said to your
really
ex.
important. Like, or before, I was like, okay, that's just like bullshit. Like people are saying confidence make you more beautiful. But
Mm,
now I do realize that, you know,
mm.
it's true. It's definitely true.
Yeah, I think, and I'll say this too. I think there is a different. I think there's a different value proposition on confidence between the two sexes, and also the reason why I say that is because an ugly, a quote unquote, let's just say unattractive man to what other women would see, he can be the biggest, like ugliest, man, but he has a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, it isn't hurt if he has a lot of money too, but if he has a lot of confidence, he could pull a lot of girls. And a person like I would say having a strong, like a confident personality
Mm-hmm.
is, I would say that's something valued more highly on a guy's standpoint, in a sense of like how we are attracted to women,
Mm-hmm.
more so than it is to for men to be attracted to a girl who is so confident, but yet we're not physically attracted to her. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like that's, I think confidence is attractive, but I think there's a different value proposition that each sex may have an appreciation for of that, because they're like, I mean, you can, some people can say it's sad, but regardless, this is the truth. Like they'll be like, guys will be like, hey, if she's like a 10 out of 10, she looks like Kim Kardashian.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's not the most confident person, but and maybe she even works at McDonald's or something like that. Maybe she's a janitor, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But if she looks like Kim Kardashian, those guys are like gonna like give her they're gonna give her a chance a lot of times. Um and what if she's not as physically attractive to those guys, but she's a lot of confidence. That's gonna attract some guys, but I'm just saying it's not gonna attract as many guys as the girl who looks like Kim Kardashian, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And people can say that men are just objectifying women, and I just think that there's certain things, certain characteristics about, I think that men love about a woman that are different than how women are attracted to men. And that's just because like a guy who is physically attractive, if he has no confidence, and since us guys have to usually do the approaching, like it's like he's already, even if he looks like a Brad Pitt, but he has zero confidence to even approach a girl and say, "Hey, I love your smile.
Yeah.
You're so beautiful. Like we should go, on a date or get your WeChat or something like that." And if he
Mm-hmm.
sends his friend out to go do it for you, like you're gonna look at him like, that guy's weird.
Yeah,
He ain't got no confidence. But for a guy, like that's not gonna mean as much. Like for her, like, oh wow, that's not the first thing a guy like. That's not the first impression for a guy. First impression is just like, how does her face look, or how does her body look, or all those things. And people can call that surface level, or they can call it whatever they want. But that's just how guys are. It's not that personality doesn't matter or confidence doesn't matter in a woman. It's just that I think it's valued at a different level than how women view confidence in a man. So it's
yeah.
just it's it's attractive. It's an attractive trait, but it's just I think it's just again valued at different levels depending on.
Yeah, makes sense. Also, like if a person, especially like you said, a girl is confident, like her posture will be different, and like yeah, like you said, it's a surface level. But if
Yeah.
you're trying to get to know someone, like even though they're like really naturally beautiful, and if
hmm
they're like pretty on confidence,
hmm
as you get to know them, you would like abstract your attractiveness. My English,
Um,
like you would
like
feel less attractive to
wait,
them.
can you say that again? I didn't. I was trying to understand your question. Or
So I was trying to say, if a girl, let's say if a girl, she is naturally beautiful,
okay.
but she's like super unconfident,
hmm
and if you as you get to know her,
hmm
you might like abstract, like there will be less attractiveness of her for you to see, you know?
Yeah, I can
Because
agree with
when you
that.
talk to her, like she can't look in you in the eyes, or like her,
Yeah.
she's always hunch her back because she's not confident about her how she look, or like
hmm
that's like some level of minus attractiveness
Yeah.
for people.
I would agree with that. I think yeah, you're right about the over time that is true. But if we're
Yeah,
just talking about like just first, straight out the rip, like,
exactly.
I'm just meeting them for the first time. Most guys are not going to care about her confidence level. Like when they first meet her, like they're gonna be like, is she hot or is she not?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna go from there. They're gonna we're gonna go from there. We're gonna like with the whole that the girl I met at Amsterdam. I didn't look in her eyes and I wasn't like, how confident
Is
is
she
she?
confident?
Behind that mask, like how confident is she out of 10? Oh, she's a one now. I'm out of here. No, I thought she was physically attractive, and and then I just got to know her from there. But it's like one of those things where over it's just like yeah, you're right about the overtime. Like overtime is like it's hard to carry a conversation. Like it's just like it's such a drag, or it's
Yeah.
just boring, or just like like
Yeah, so if you think about it, like
okay.
if you put people into two categories, no matter guys or boys, no matter guys or girls, like if because I know for most guys, they're like they don't really care about their personalities as long as she's hot to his standard, and then she's fuckable. Like, okay, I want to fuck her, but I don't want to be like in an
Relationship.
exclusive relationship with her.
Yeah.
But normally the
hmm
society will assume girls, or like that's a truth, because girls don't really do that categories. Most
Yeah.
girls wouldn't.
Okay.
And they were just like, okay, this guy's cute, but he's kind of like a asshole, or he's not really confident or whatever. Then maybe I won't keep seeing him or whatever. But actually there are girls also do the two categories. Like,
mm
okay, he's hot. I like
mm
his face, his body, but
mm
he's stupid. He says stupid shit.
Yeah.
And he's an asshole. Maybe I'll just fuck him, and I don't want to be in an exclusive relationship with him. It's just like girls like that are not as many as boys like that. So that creates
Yeah.
this kind of
Because like I said, like guys are like more like it's I would say simple in the sense of like what we are attract like if you ask a bunch of guys, like if you ask 100 guys what they are attracted to like what strikes you like to be attracted to a woman when you first see her? Again, you're not gonna know her personality until you first see
Yeah,
her, and then
physical
you're gonna be
stuff.
like, you're not even gonna want to get to know her personality
Yeah,
until you see her. You're gonna be like, all right, what does she look like? That's the first question, and then the second question is, what is her personality like?
yeah.
It's like for girls, it's like, again, it's different because like, yeah, there are some girls who just go based on the looks, but I would say most girls, I would say, go based off of confidence level. Like
Mhm.
that's more attractive
Yeah,
than just
yeah.
like his looks, because I don't know, it's just like because that's what stimulates the emotions. Does he make her laugh? Does he make her feel good? Does he make her like, feel protected, or all those different things? And so, does he have friends? Is he weird? Like those are the things that girls ask, like,
Yeah,
because guys, like I'm gonna keep it real with you, like guys, like we are not gonna be like, is she a weirdo? Like, is she socially awkward? Like,
yeah.
like if we find that out
No,
later, if we find that out later on, then we're gonna be like, all right, we don't really, want to deal with her anymore. But at the
no.
beginning, we're not gonna care about all that.
Yeah,
We're gonna be like, what does she look like? What, is she like curvy? Is she like, what's
yeah.
up? So, I mean, again, like everybody has different, things that they have about them. And it seems to be that seems to be a similarity, whether it be in China or America or
Yeah.
wherever. Like there seems to be a somewhat of a similarity between like the sexes, between male and female, as
Mhm.
far as like what is appreciated, or I would say what is valued,
Mhm.
because everybody, like, again, because men and women are different, no matter how many times people try to say that there's no difference, there
Mm.
is. And that's fine, because that's why men and women, they definitely need each other, because they they're both things that everybody brings to the table as different, and that's what makes, the yin and the yang come together, makes it beautiful.
Mhm.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I had some more questions on my list, but I think we'll have to do a part two, because of
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was definitely good chatting with you, and talking about cultural differences, and just we talked about beauty standards, we talked about food, we talked about
Eating.
driving,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And maybe you can get this translated in Mandarin, so other people can check it out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
But
cool.
you mean adding it, added this, right?
Uh-huh.
Because will you added added
Yeah,
it?
I'm gonna edit.
Okay.
But I don't know how to put Mandarin in there, so I'm gonna let you do that part. I'll do all
Okay.
the other editing.
Okay.
But yeah. Definitely. But next time, I think, yeah, I definitely want to talk more about like, um, excuse me, about like race, more getting more into that. Like definitely next time we can talk more about, thoughts about like what was some thoughts that a lot of Chinese people had about maybe Black Lives Matter, or social injustice. Like any thoughts,
Mm.
or maybe no thoughts at
Actually,
all.
yeah, yeah, we can talk about that because I had some
Oh
questions.
yeah. We're gonna say that one for next time. We're gonna say that for next time. So
Okay.
anyways,
Okay.
but again, great conversation, and we're definitely gonna do it again. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for watching, and make sure you subscribe to this channel and
Subscribe.
follow Kimberly on Instagram. Tell them your Instagram
Okay.
so they can follow you.
Oh, my Instagram is it's not Kimberly, but the I in Kim is one
Yeah.
because the I is like the name we're taking. I can't use that, like, so I have to put one. Anyways,
Yeah. I'm gonna put that. I'll put that on there when I edit it.
okay.
But anyways, thank you guys again. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Sorry.